Enjoy the channel and our video content and would like to support us? You can do this in a couple of ways. You can sign up to our Patreon site, which is a monthly subscription to one of our 4 tiers, each giving you something different from early access interviews up to exclusive unseen footage. There's also the option of a one-off donation via PayPal, which allows you the option to donate an amount of your choice. Both options really help to keep this channel going and to continue putting out regular content for you good folk. So please take a look at aircrewinterview.tv/donate, and I thank you in advance. Thank you and enjoy.
Low level is another one, usually unsighted. There's something comes round the valley, over a hillside, something like that. If both aircraft fail to see late, then it can really get quite ugly. Sometimes you just don't appreciate the other aircraft hasn't seen you and perhaps makes a turn it was going to make anyway, but suddenly it's now in conflict with you and you think, oh, well, why the hell did he do that? You don't know at the time, but the answer is he hasn't, or the other crew hasn't seen you, and therefore they weren't actually doing it deliberately. So you really do have to be on your guard. I do recall one time it was a simple transit. We'd been deployed up to Kinloss because of a runway resurfacing at Leuchars, and I was just to take an aircraft back down to Leuchars, and I was going to take a brand new nav. Well, it's a brand new, first trip on the F3, and part of that profile is to do a low-level nav, so it fitted in quite nicely. Lovely weather, and he had planned a route from Kinloss through the Highlands down to Leuchars. Perfect. We had gone down the Great Glen, because that's easy for navigators. It's a big, long valley, and you can't get lost. We were somewhere near Fort William, and then we turned towards, and I remember this for obvious reasons, but another little town called Roy Bridge. We're approaching Roy Bridge, and we were going to make a right-hand turn to go down one of the other lochs. Was it Loch Treig? I can't quite remember, but we're heading down towards the Ranach area. So just as we're approaching the turning point, I elected to start to climb up from 250 feet to about 500, just to give me a better view of what was happening around the area. And I'm looking into the turn, into the direction we're going to go. And then I look back to the front, and at 500 feet, about 2,000 feet in front of us is a Cessna, 172, 150. I don't know where he came from, but he's now on a 90 going right to left, heading north. So luckily we're in his 9 o'clock and he's already on the nose. Now, light aircraft are allowed to fly down to 500 feet above the ground. So he was perfectly legal. If I had stayed at 250, we would have had a closer board underneath. As it was, because I climbed, and I deemed that perfectly reasonable, to get a better view to look into the turn, I put myself at his level. I had to turn very, very quickly. I got close enough to see that it was a white Cessna with blue cheat lines, you know, the general kind of colour scheme they have. Didn't get registration. It was over very, very quickly. But we turned, went down. I then said to the nav, "Jay, did you see that?" No. Because again, it happened all so quickly. And I thought, well, the pilot in the Cessna must have had a hell of a fright. So we continued the sortie. We got home, landed, immediately reported I was going to submit an air proximity report. So that went in. And to cut a long story short, the RAF side of the air prox board couldn't trace the Cessna. I gave them the exact positions, the timing and his course and all the rest. I thought it's got to be easy. Nope, couldn't trace him. And more to the point, the Cessna pilot never reported the air prox. Now, why did he not do that? It could be he didn't want the bother, but I rather suspect he never knew I was there.
Probably not, yeah.
That's my guess. And there, by the grace of God, we carried on and we continued our aviation careers. But it only took a second or two alteration the other way, and we could have had a mid-air there. and mid-airs have happened with civil aircraft and military aircraft, simply because one or both, probably both crews, didn't see in time to avoid the collision, and it can happen so quickly.